Our next witness is Ms. Taylor Johnson. Ms. Johnson is a senior special agent with Homeland Security Investigations, a component under Immigration and Customs Enforcement. Special Agent Johnson has raised concerns about national security and criminal risks in the EB5 program to her management and to the DHS Office of Inspector General. Ms. Johnson.
Chairman Johnson, seems we're all going to do that today. Chairman Johnson, Ranking Member Carpenter, and distinguished members of the committee, I appreciate the opportunity to speak before you guys today surrounding the issues of and obstacles with whistleblowing. I am a special agent. I've been with HSI for about 11 years. I've been responsible for investigating large transnational organized crime groups involved in money laundering, narcotics, and bulk cash smuggling. I won't bore the committee with any awards of accommodations, although I have received some of the highest honors of our department, and my OPM file reflects clearly our yearly promotions. After disclosing gross mismanagement, waste, and fraud that threaten general public safety, national security risks, and public corruption surrounding the EB5 project, I was subjected to a significant amount of harassment and retaliation. With the approval of my chain of command, I began investigating the EB5 Regional Center and a U.S. investor. Some of the violations investigated surrounding the project included Title 18 statutes of major fraud, money laundering, bank and wire fraud. In addition, I discovered ties to organized crime and high-ranking officials and politicians who had received large campaign contributions and promotions that appeared to have facilitated the program. I disclosed this to my management and later the Office of Inspector General, specific examples of national security risk associated with the EB5 and the project under investigation. Some of those security risks coincided with what the CIA, the FBI, and the SEC have already discovered as well. During the course of the investigation, I discovered that EB5 applicants from China, Russia, Pakistan, Malaysia had been approved in as little as 16 days. The files lacked the basic and necessary law enforcement queries, and that was evident by the regional centers, SOFs, and applicants' 526s. I found over 800 operational EB5 regional centers throughout the U.S. This was a disturbing number for me since the U.S. only allows 10,000 applications per year. I could not identify how CIS was holding each regional center accountable or how they were tracked once they were inside the U.S. In addition, a complete and detailed account of the funds that went into the EB5 project was never completed or produced after several requests related to that investigation. It became evident that there were some serious and significant national security risks to that program. From the onset of the investigation, my management began getting complaints from outside agencies and high-ranking officials. As a result, I was removed from the investigation, and it was ultimately shut down and closed. Shortly after, I was escorted by 3 supervisors from my desk and out of my permanent duty station. I was not permitted to access my case files or personal items. I was removed initially over 50 miles in direct violation of Title V. My weapon and credentials were taken against the agency's firearms policy. My government vehicle was confiscated. Access to the building and all government databases was revoked. I was told I couldn't even carry or own a personal weapon, which is a constitutional rights violation. I've been placed on AWOL on 6 separate occasions, 4 of which were during my meetings and interviews with OIG and the OSC. When an adoption social worker tried to contact and verify employment, she was told that I'd been terminated for a criminal offense. I almost lost my 1-year-old child. I report to a building that houses inmates where parolees report and in an area that has the highest homicide and transient population in the U.S. I am continuously placed in dangerous situations with no way to protect myself or others. Management has willfully obstructed me from competing for any promotions and injured my prospects to promote. Lastly, after being contacted by the Office of the Inspector General on the EB5 case and designated as a witness, the agency falsely accused me of misconduct during a border enforcement operation in 2011. The result of the it resulted in termination recommendation. The allegations surrounding the termination have since been proven unfounded by the OSC, and the agency has recognized that. OPR had produced an inaccurate bias report in an attempt to terminate my employment and remained in contact with the same chain of command who had shut down the EB5 case. This is a direct conflict of interest. The 2011 complaint was used after the agency was unable to substantiate any allegations against me and as a tool to ensure that I could not testify for the OIG or continue the investigation into the EB5 program. There are no policies in place which limit the disciplinary actions against agents. Agents are placed on administrative restrictions for years at a time, which is a gross mismanagement and a waste when these agents are needed to support cases and protect the U.S. I was slandered to the point that I couldn't perform my job because of the malicious and false gossip. It took away the time and happiness from my family, and I'm still currently being held hostage by my own agency. It's demoralizing to myself and agents to have directors and senior leaderships bury their heads in the sand and ignore the reports of undue influence and surveys that clearly identify agents wanting to do their jobs but being unable to because of the leadership. It condones and it encourages bad behavior within the Department of Homeland Security. I'm here to inform the committee at an agent level of the retaliations surrounding one of the largest investigative branches of the federal government. Agents and officers need to be valued by management, not punished, when they disclose factual and important information to our leadership. In closing, it's important to have agents at your front line, coming forward on issues that affect the safety of our nation. To this committee, I look forward to listening to your insight and answering any questions you may have. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Ms. Johnson.